Good morning, my friend. I'm really glad you're here right now, taking this quiet moment before the day starts moving fast. Before the emails, before the noise, before the weight of everything you're carrying today. I want to begin with something gentle but honest. Worry doesn't just show up out of nowhere. It's not random, and it's not a personal failure. Worry is often a signal. It reveals what we're trusting, and sometimes what we're trusting more than God. Think about how your day usually begins. Maybe the first thing you feel isn't peace, but pressure. Pressure about money, about work, about your family, about your health, about the future. Those thoughts don't wait for permission. They rush in, and without realizing it, those concerns quietly move into the center of your heart. Not because you want them there, but because they feel urgent. And here's the truth we don't often say out loud. The thing you worry about the most is usually the thing you're depending on the most. Worry isn't just about fear. It's about misplaced trust. It's what happens when daily needs slowly become ultimate concerns. When something meant to be managed starts to be worshipped. You don't wake up choosing anxiety, but your heart starts bowing to whatever feels like it holds your life together. For some, it's a paycheck. For others, it's a relationship. For some, it's control, planning, or having everything figured out. And when that thing feels threatened, worry takes over. Not because you're weak, but because your heart is trying to protect what it thinks you cannot live without. Jesus understood this about us. He didn't shame people for worrying. He didn't say, "Stop it, you should know better." Instead, he gently exposed what worry reveals. That underneath the fear is a question we're all asking in one way or another. Will I be okay? Will I have enough? Will I be taken care of? And here's the quiet invitation of this morning. Not to fight your worry, but to listen to it, to let it show you where your trust has drifted. Because once you can see that, grace can step in. You don't have to carry this day on your own. You don't have to make your needs your God. There is a Father who knows what you need before you ask. And as we move forward in this time together, we're going to gently bring our trust back where it belongs. Not all at once, not perfectly, but honestly, right here, right now, as we sit with that truth, I want to take you a little deeper, because this is where so much of our anxiety is born. We don't usually worry because we don't believe in God. We worry because, without realizing it, we start believing that one specific thing is our lifeline. A job, a paycheck, a person, a system. And as long as that one channel feels stable, we feel okay. But the moment it shakes, fear rushes in. That's when our heart starts racing, our mind starts spiraling, and peace feels far away. But here's the gentle correction Jesus offers us, not with pressure, but with compassion. God is the source. Everything else is just a channel. Money is a channel. Work is a channel. Opportunities are channels. Even people are channels. But none of them were ever meant to carry the weight of your security. When we confuse the channel with the source, we panic when the channel dries up. But God has never been limited to just one way of providing for you. Jesus painted this picture so simply when he pointed to the birds. He talked about ravens, birds that weren't admired, birds that didn't store up food, birds that didn't have backup plans, and yet they eat. Not because food magically drops into their beaks, but because God has already woven provision into creation. There is always something somewhere. The raven moves forward, trusting that what it needs will appear along the way. And Jesus says, if God feeds birds that people barely notice, how much more does he care about you? This isn't an invitation to be careless or irresponsible. Trusting God doesn't mean ignoring reality or avoiding effort. Ravens still fly. They still search. They still move. They just don't panic when they can't see the next meal yet. There's a difference between trusting God and testing God. Trust says, I'll do my part and leave the outcome with you. Testing says, I'll stop doing my part and expect you to rescue me. God calls us to trust, not to abandon wisdom. And this is where peace begins to return. When you realize that even if one door closes, God still has access to countless others. When one channel slows down, the source remains full. When the system fails, God does not. You may not see how provision will come, but you don't have to see it to trust it. This morning, let your shoulders relax just a little. You are not being held together by one fragile thing. You are being held by a faithful God who has never run out of options. And as we keep going, we're going to learn how to live from that place of trust, one day at a time, starting right now. Now here's where everything begins to shift, and it's much simpler than we often think. Jesus didn't say, figure out the rest of your life, and then come to God. He said, "Seek first the kingdom." First doesn't mean only. It means first in order, first in priority, first in your heart. And that decision isn't something you make once and never revisit. It's something you choose again each morning, sometimes each hour. Seeking God's kingdom first doesn't mean your worries instantly disappear. It means they no longer get the final say. It means your heart has a new center. So instead of waking up and immediately checking the thing that usually determines your peace, the bank account, the news, your inbox, the calendar, you choose a different starting point. You start by remembering who you belong to. You remind your soul, before I carry this day, God is already holding it. When your treasure is tied to temporary things, your heart stays on edge, always bracing for loss. But when your treasure is anchored in something eternal, your heart begins to settle, not because life is predictable, but because God is faithful. Seeking the kingdom first looks like trusting God with today's needs and refusing to live 10 steps ahead in fear. It's choosing to obey before you feel secure. It's choosing to pray before you feel calm. It's choosing faith, not as a feeling, but as a direction. Jesus spoke so tenderly when he said, "Do not be afraid, little flock." He knows how easily we get scared. He knows how quickly our thoughts run ahead of us. And he says it brings the Father joy to take care of you. You are not a burden to God. You are not an afterthought. He is not annoyed by your needs. This morning, you don't need a 5-year plan to have peace. You just need to place today back into God's hands. One decision, one surrender, one quiet choice to trust instead of worry. And as we move into prayer together, let this be your posture. Not striving, not forcing yourself to feel strong, just opening your hands and saying, "God, I seek you first today. Right here, right now, before anything else,